Manny,
What's up, man? Thank
welcome to the
you.
BLND Podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's great to be back.
Of course, you do a lot of shit, bro.
Yeah,
But first off, you have a clothing brand,
I
Watch the
do.
Crown.
Yes.
Tell me about it. How'd you come up with the name? What's the purpose? What's the goal?
Yeah. So for the clothing brand, Watch the Crown, I started back in college with a few friends. The goal was to at first just promote natural hair, and just kind of like promote people wanting to embrace their natural selves, give people a platform, and then from there we kind of expanded into making products and clothes. We kind of wanted to keep that theme going. So we had started off by making like hair care products like bonnets, do-rags, and scarves. And from there, we kind of migrated into satin-lined hats, satin-lined hoodies, and things like that. And so now we are kind of wanting to expand into a full clothing brand, still kind of keeping true to the things that we did to begin us, but then also, wanting to really continue to build out this world.
How'd you come up with the name?
So there was an event. So I went to Wentworth, Institute of Technology. I think there was an event across the street at Northeastern. It was like something Crown. And I think we went to make the IG, like we were floating around with a bunch of names. When we went to make the IG, the C wasn't available. So we just swapped it to a K. And then we kind of just ran with it.
How did you guys decide to switch from making like the accessories like bonnets and stuff to clothes?
So we wanted something that people could wear out more and kind of carry the brand out with them. Like with the accessories, it's a lot, so many stuff you're really gonna wear at nighttime.
Right.
And so we wanted to really continue to expand, give something that people could wear during the daytime, wear out to different events and things like that. And so we felt like that was the right pivot for us.
Most people I start with the clothing brand and then venture out into accessories. How was it on the back end, manufacturing wise, switching and finding a clothing manufacturer to kind of work in the satin line stuff?
It wasn't that difficult because the process is usually the same. You test out a few samples, you really see which one works, you weigh different relationships and vibes of manufacturers, and then you kind of just go from there. I think if you know how to sell a product, you know how to sell a product.
Right.
And so that also wasn't really different. And with us already kind of being in that space where we were making headwear, us transitioning first into satin lined beanies, it really wasn't that much of a shift to our audience at first.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, it wasn't like on the back end, the logistics wise wasn't that crazy. It was really just working with like another manufacturer.
What do you think has been the hardest part about growing the brand?
I think the hardest part is I have a lot of ideas for things that I want to do.
Right.
And our goal, honestly, is to make products and spaces that are curated for our community.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we say that, we're thinking of people who are, sometimes unrepresented in other spaces, whether
Right.
it's opportunities, resources, or, going back to what we're making like actual products for themselves. And so when I look at like a space like that, there's a lot of things that you can do. And so I think the biggest part for me has been like, okay, like how do I stay focused on like what our actual thing is?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, at times, we've tested out and experiment doing different things. I think for the most part, we've tried to stay true to what we are. But I think that's also the thing, because when you're trying to navigate that, there's a lot of other people that are in these spaces as well.
Yeah.
Right. So we have our mission, we have true, but if we come out with a shirt, there's like a lot of shirts that you could buy. So I think that's one of the hardest things, is really trying to stay in our pocket, and then also trying to see how much out there that we can really do.
And what do you think, like you said, like the market's oversaturated, there's a whole lot of shit you could buy. What do you think differentiates your products?
I think what differentiates our products is our mission and how much we give back to our community. So when you're shopping with us, when you're wearing one of our tees, it's not just saying like, okay, I have a shirt on from this brand. It's also you're giving back to the community. We have a foundation attached to our brand called Crown Foundation, where we host annual events that give back to students. We host a back to school drive almost every year. We have one coming up with you guys.
Right.
We've also hosted parties or social events that are almost kind of like party with a purpose events where we give back some of the proceeds. And so things like that, I think community is at the core of what we do. And so I think what differentiates us is you can buy a product from anywhere, but how far does the impact of your buying go? And I think when you buy with us, your impact goes far.
Is there any issues you think that you see clothing brands making a lot more that are easily like preventable, I guess, that you've learned?
I think things that I've preventable. I think it's trying to be in a lot of different lanes or like trying to navigate different things to do. Like have your mission or have like what you want to do, what you feel like makes your stuff you, and or like what drives you to make stuff, and stay true to that. Whether it's like something you have to write on a piece of paper and put it above your workstation or whatever the case is,
Right.
I think stay true to that. Because I think if you just get in the game and you're like, okay, I'm gonna get like 30 blanks and I'm gonna slap this graphic on it, that's only gonna take you so far.
Yeah. My follow-up question, do you think a lot of people start up clothing brands for the wrong reason? Because the market's like super oversaturated now, and like I think the 21, 22, 23 period, like everybody was making these like graphic hoodies and sweatsuits, and like just it was a money grab essentially at one point. Now I think it's died down a little bit, but do you think a lot of people are doing it for not really for the love of the game, I guess?
I think it's hard to say because I think it's unfair to someone starting to say like why they're starting it.
Yeah.
Like I remember sitting in my first computer science class and I went into college like, yo, like I want to start companies, I want to do all these things, and my professor was talking to me about, yeah, like when you get into your when you get into your like corporate role, you're gonna have to follow all of these things. And I'm like, bro, I don't want to hear about that. Like,
Yeah.
tell me how to like build these things that's gonna lead to like companies. And so I know for me, like when I wanted to start doing my own thing, it was that drive, right? So, you know, to someone else that could look like the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And so for them, I think as long as I think if there's people out there who like, yo, I just care about money, you're not like, you're gonna lose a lot more, a lot of money before you make money.
Right.
So I feel like, but if you have like, hey, if your only thing is like, hey, I like to make things, that's enough.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
really enough. You can figure out everything else later on in line. But if your thing is like, yo, like I just want to make money, you're gonna lose so much.
Yeah, with a lot of brands, especially smaller brands, I think you could feel the authenticity come through with their, like you said, your mission and
Yeah.
like whatever their purpose is. Tell me about the Crown Foundation. How did you guys decide to do a nonprofit, and were you always doing a nonprofit from when you started the brand, or did you add on?
Okay, so I'll say we've always made an effort to do community-centered events and to be a community-centered brand, but I think there were certain things that kind of got in the way of that. So we were trying to do community events and we were trying to sell products, and it was like, okay, which one are you guys want to do? And so us setting up the foundation wasn't always something that we envisioned, but what ended up happening was I realized that we could have a lot more impact if we shifted our entire focus under something specifically. And like with a foundation, it just opens up way more doors. It allows us to do a lot more things that we were already doing under the brand, but it lets certain things get sponsored, it lets certain things get supported by the city or towns. And it really allows people to see like, hey, like this is an entity where certain things are actually going. So we have an annual event that we host called Crown Invitational, which is a basketball showcase. And so with that, we were only hosting that under the actual brand, but we ran into the issue of, well, we want this to get sponsored.
Yeah.
We want to be able to have, you know, the ability to operate in the city and to be able to partner with the city. But if you're coming to them as a for-profit, it's going to be hard for, it's really slow. And so us doing it for the nonprofit, it really allows us to do all of the things that we have in mind to give back to our community, make it more channeled, and like really push as much resources into it as possible.
Well, that's good. I'm sure people are interested, and for us too. What is the process like of partnering with the city on certain events and the process of getting sponsors?
Yeah.
How does that work? How do you like think about it?
So I think it's about finding a fit. So I'll start with the sponsors one. Like, it's about finding a fit. It's about finding what works, and also you need to have traction. So we're like still in the phase of like, how much traction can we build up? How much
Right.
leverage can we build up? And after you do that, you just show like, hey, we've been doing this for X amount of years, and we've built up this community, and we have all of these people that support us. Come be a part of that. I think when it comes with the city, they have different grants available. They have different opportunities that they post all the time. I'm sometimes chronically online, so anytime something comes up, I try my best to catch it.
Yeah.
And then also, I think if you're out and about in the city, you'll sometimes meet some of these decision makers or people who are in these offices. And it doesn't always have to be the big like grant opportunities. Sometimes it can be people who are in different offices, or like, some, like, for example, I grew up in Hyde Park, so they have like town liaisons. And so sometimes you can partner with those people to get, smaller projects off the ground.
Fair. And since we're talking about the nonprofit, can you talk a little bit about the event we have coming up?
Yes. So August 23rd, Crown Foundation and BLND Foundation will be hosting a back to school drive / pop-up. So it'll be a mixture of all of our worlds, I guess.
Right.
So on the foundation side, we're going to be raising and collecting school supplies for children, for all the students. And on the brand side, we're both going to be setting up pop-ups for our latest collections.
Yeah,
So,
basically. Make sure you pop out August 23rd. And where is it going to be?
It's going to be at the Crown Legend store by Mass Ave train station. All the info is coming out soon, so stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned. I know you're a clothing brand owner, but do you consider yourself into fashion per se? Because the clothes you make are fashionable, but also I think it's more on utility as well.
Yeah.
But do you consider yourself like into like fashion?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm like going beyond like TikTok or IG, like posting outfits. Like, I don't think that's me. But I will say I do like, how do I put it, like the design and the engineering behind certain things. Seeing how something was made, seeing like the pattern of something, seeing the material that was used, how something was cut, if it looks nice, if it goes together. Like, I like the making process of it. I like designing. And so that's for me why I like things. And I look at fashion, I look at some of the things that I make as like a canvas that I can make stuff on.
Fire. Are there any trends that you like or dislike, either in the fashion industry or how clothes are being designed nowadays? Or like for some pieces, like clothing pieces that you like, what do you like about them? What makes them more attractive to you?
I think what I am realizing is I think like a lot of people try to go for the same blanks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, that's kind of like one of the things that I think kind of like takes away, because it only requires you to be kind of like to some extent like a one-dimensional designer. Right. So it's like, okay, like all I have to know is, and I think that's all, but also that's kind of part of it, right? So like when I say like one-dimensional, it's like, okay, I just got to put a graphic on the front.
Right.
And not to say like anyone can do that, but like I think that's like one step to designing.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like when you do a little bit more curated things and you're worried about, like a cut and sew, like how does it sit on someone? Mm-hmm. How many inches down this way should it go? So I feel like the pop-up and emergence of a lot of like people creating and selling blanks, I think that's the one thing I don't like. Mm-hmm. I also say like not necessarily on the brand owners end. I think the manufacturing, the infrastructure around manufacturing, I don't think, at least like in the US, I don't think it allows brands to be as creative as they can be. Okay. Like I think a lot of brands are stuck with having to do
whatever the manufacturer's capable of.
Yeah, but not just that. I mean, just like only can put like prints on blanks.
Yeah.
Not being able to do a lot of cut and sew without having to go aggressively on the budget. And so I think if somehow, there could be expansion in like the manufacturing capabilities, I think that would actually give a lot of brand owners that are just starting up the ability to be a lot more flexible.
Yeah, that's true. Because also, like, even just getting samples and stuff, the prices add up. And, like, then you have to put in a bulk order and all that stuff. So if you're trying to get super creative, then it's just going to get more expensive. I have seen a lot of people, especially working with clothing brands under Blend. Met a lot of people that are doing it themselves, which
Yeah.
has led to some really fire pieces coming out. And, like, especially, like, people that are trying to do, I guess, fashion shows, because those are more like less, I guess, daily wear pieces,
Yeah.
but more just like really well designed, I think. But yeah, you're right. For people beginning, there's only so much they can achieve starting out, more than like just printing onto a t-shirt or something a little more basic, I
Yeah.
guess. You are also a graphic designer, right?
Yes.
How did you get into that? Have you always been into it?
So when I was in high school, I knew I wanted to start a brand in high school. My grandmother was a seamstress from Haiti, and so I'd always watch her kind of like working on clothing and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I was never gonna be able to sew. I knew I was never gonna be able to like sit at a machine or nothing like
Yeah.
that. And so for me, I would like draw sketches, and then I ended up getting a free version of Adobe,
Mm-hmm.
and so I started like playing around with it and trying to figure it out. So by the time I got to college, I started making samples and like learned like, okay, I can go to Alibaba and like get these things. And so going back to that, at the same time that I'm building these skills, I'm getting better at like designing my own logos, creating my own graphics, making flyers for different things. And so over time, like those skills kind of just ended up building up together.
And you also hosted, or you taught a workshop
Yes.
under our nonprofit, which helped people start their clothing brand process and figure out what they want to look for in a logo. And you help them design the logo and print it onto a shirt. How has the teaching part of it been?
Teaching it was interesting. I didn't know I would actually kind of enjoy teaching,
Mm-hmm.
but it was actually pretty fun. Like seeing people actually realize in real time what they're capable of.
Yeah.
Like it's easy if you're like a client, like, hey, like I want this done. I don't necessarily want to deal with it or anything like that. Like just show me what you know I'll like.
Yeah.
Cool. But I think a lot of people have like a creative bug in them
Mm-hmm.
if they kind of try to sit there and like work things out.
Right.
And so actually seeing them be able to take concept to execution within, it was like what, 2-3 hours.
Yeah. Short amount of time.
I think it was dope. Like I think it was really, really amazing. And I think they learned a lot. I do want to run it back. Hopefully can get sponsored by one of these software companies to be
Yeah.
able to host it properly. But yeah, nah, it was really exciting.
Yeah. It was our first workshop, and it started off, in my opinion, a little awkward because everyone's
Yeah.
like new. It's like, it's just some random place.
So
and
I came into it thinking like I was just gonna lecture. So I had slides.
Yeah.
So when I realized quickly, it was like actually doing it like it, what we called it a workshop, but I was like, okay, the first part is gonna be like lecture style.
Yeah.
So but I feel like the quicker we got into like more hands on, going
People got
laptop to
more comfortable.
laptop, yeah, people got more comfortable. People got their chance to like work on their own. Cause I think like you also like making stuff like, you know, like that one-on-one like time with just yourself, like it helps a lot. Like, you can just flesh out your
Yeah.
ideas and everything.
Because there's only so much, like, per se, like, there's only so much you can help them do if they don't have the vision to do
Yeah.
it, right? So it's like, you gave them the tools, then, like, let them sit for a little bit and figure out what they want, then you help them refine it a little bit more. And so then seeing it go from the beginning, which was, it started off in my head, I was like, dang, these people think it's a waste of their time. And then by the end of it, everyone was like super happy to take the picture with their shirt. And like, there's one girl in specific that seemed like so proud of herself to have made her logo. Like, it was just a good feeling. And like, things like that always, I think, push forward the mission
Yeah.
and show like, okay, if these people feel better, like, I want to do more of that. Would you do more teaching stuff?
I definitely want to. And I think like a mixture like the events that we did, but then also like teaching kids.
Yeah.
Like I have a project I'm trying to work on. Just trying to build out some of the relationships. But yeah, I think for me, like design has done a lot for me. It's opened up so many doors. And so, but I didn't really have anyone, like I learned everything on my own. And so I feel like it would be I think it's an amazing opportunity to be able to go back and like teach a lot of like people things and like opportunities that I just didn't have access to.
Yeah, that's fair. Can you tell me a little bit about World of E Studios?
Yeah.
What that is, like what you do?
So yeah, so I think in a lot of the projects and things that I've done, I want to say from college and on, it's always involved me either editing videos for people, making logos, flyers, motion graphics, things like that. And so I would do it for my brand, and then people would ask me to, hey, like, can you also do this for me?
Right.
And so over time, I wanted to find a way to really channel that. And what I ended up doing, I've launched it at different times and then went back and like reworked it. But what World of E Studios is a creative agency, which is pretty much a one-stop shop for everything. So brand work, technical development, so that's websites and everything, and then also just any sort of creative direction. So pretty much if you want to make or build anything and you come to me or come to us, come to the team in general, we'll be able to get it done for you. Pretty much want to continue to build out a platform where things can just be made and like pushed out.
And is the people you work with for World of E Studios, is that similar to the group that you started Watch the Crown with?
No, it's a different group of people. A lot of times, like let's say I have a photographer or videographer that I work with, or models that I work with. If you're like, hey, I know you just did this, you just helped us set up the branding, like get all these products in, but we also need to do a photo shoot. I'm gonna hit up the same people that like I work
that's true.
with.
Yeah.
So that's usually how that goes. Yeah.
And regarding for Watch the Crown, what's next that you can talk about maybe over the next course of the next year? I know you just did a fire photo shoot.
Thank you. What's next? I think we're always kind of in I want to say like a rebranding, kind of seeing what's working, seeing what can be tweaked. So I low-key don't know.
That's fine.
I know. I will say though, like I think our next collection is gonna be a mixture of a few things, and we're probably gonna drop it into different segments. But I think I know for sure it's gonna be definitely kind of going back to our roots around a lot of headwear, and then also like making sure like our products are like curated for our community. So I know that for sure, and it's gonna be split up into a few drops, but I know that should take us through the fall. Next year, I don't know about
That's
next
fair.
year yet.
That's fair. And the photo shoot you guys did, it was like FIFA themed kind of.
Yeah, so we did a few. Not all of them have dropped yet. They might drop by the time this is out. But so we did the studio one for all our products, and we had a Haiti World Cup jersey in there, and then we had like a few of our editorial shots had some soccer balls in it, and then we also did, we did an outside shoot with another one of our in-house models. We did that by what was it? It's in Back Bay, Copley, by the FIFA ball that's there.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah. Do you think you'll do more themed shoots like that for your upcoming drops?
I think so, because I think it helps with the world building, and I think it helps kind of craft a story more.
That's fair. I want to ask about, like you mentioned a story about when you were in like computer class.
Yeah.
And, like, you're not trying to hear all that. You want to do your own thing. Has the definition of success changed for you now versus what it used to be, maybe when you were starting out everything?
Yes or no. I think there's always like a baseline, like, hey, is this working? Yes or no. Like, I think regardless, is this working? Is this making money? Is there any sort of progression?
Yeah.
Yes or no. But I do think there should be some internal goals that you hit, like, hey, we want to hit X amount of people coming through.
Yeah.
Let's say your internal number is 25, right? Like, hey, as long as we get 25 people, that is going to be a number we're working with. Obviously, you want 100 people to come through. That's
Right.
what objectively someone who doesn't know the inner workings of certain things would look at and say, like, okay, that was successful. But if you say, like, hey, I'm okay with 25, if with 25 people you can sleep at night, then I think
It's like your
that,
own benchmark.
Yeah. And so for me, I think what I've learned is, okay, what are some of my internal benchmarks, and as long as I'm hitting that, I can kind of silence everything else around me.
And how do you get through the times where it feels like you won't hit those benchmarks or you don't hit those benchmarks? Because as creatives, I think everybody goes through these like burnout phases of where things aren't working out and you question everything and all that. How do you get through those?
So I was just talking to my friend the other day. I was like, I wish like I could just put stuff out and like not worry about the aftermath. And like it's kind of weird, like I love making things, but also I feel like almost everything that I do is in like the subjective like industry where it's a matter of opinion, it's a matter of how much people like it or not.
It's gonna get judged.
Yeah. And so for me, how I deal with it is I think I'm still learning to some extent, but I would say like how I cope with it is I try to make sure I put my best foot forward. And then as long as I considered I did that, then I'm like, okay, cool. If I know that I didn't do that, then I'm like, okay, I didn't do my job.
Yeah.
Like it's one thing if like, okay, I did everything I could do, people not rocking with it.
All right,
cool. It is what it is. But if I can look back and say I didn't do this, I didn't do that, that wasn't the right call, then I'm like, yeah, I might have messed up on that.
That's fair. That's a good way to look at it. And for the rest of the year, besides the back to school drive, do you have any other events?
So that Friday before, we are doing our second edition of the Made in IET event. It's a marketplace type of event where we're specifically focused on Haitian-owned vendors.
Mm-hmm.
We did it around the World Cup for Haiti's first game in Boston.
Right.
And we're bringing it back as a way to kind of like close out the summer, invite a lot more vendors, and really curate the night around them. And so that flyer is already out. If you're a vendor, Haitian owned, doesn't matter what you do, we want to have you guys in the space. That'll be August 21st in Cambridge.
Okay. And I know for us, events are super stressful. Like how... I mean, I'm always interested to see other people's experience. We don't talk to a lot of people that host the events. I know you have experience with them. Like, how is your experience, like, preparing for that time?
I would say, like, I'll literally be in a group chat like, this sounds like a great idea. And then everything is great, flyer drops, and it's like a give or take on what'll happen. And I think with every event, like, you kind of learn more.
Right.
And so there's mistakes or, lessons that we learned from the last one, so we're trying to adapt to it. And I think the market is always changing.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing is, like, just continue to, like, build out your community. Like, I'm still in the process of, like, building out mine. And I think just, like, never be afraid to, like, try to execute. And then always, like, try your best to do stuff, like, in a controlled environment as much as possible. And build relationships with as many, like, vendors and, like, people that can help you as possible.
True. Do you have any experience doing events outside of Boston?
Not directly. I'm also part of a team called the B-Sides. And so we've done through there, like, there's been events in New York, DC, Houston. Then we have one coming up in Tampa. We've done events out in Providence as well. But at least, like, on the Watch the Crown or, like, World of E end, we haven't done anything out of Boston yet. But we're also very much like, hey, we're Boston-based.
Yeah.
So it doesn't always make sense for us to go out.
Right. What do you think about the Boston scene in general regarding, like, supporting creative groups like you?
I think Boston is really supportive. I think if you make the effort to put yourself out there, if you make the effort to really bring out something new, there's a lot of support out in the city. And I think there's a lot of space for collaboration as well. There's a lot of support, a lot of space for collaboration, and I think there's always a welcoming of new ideas. Mm-hmm. But I've also realized is like Boston is becoming a city that a lot more artists do tour stops at. Yeah. A lot more like of the traveling parties will make stops in Boston. And so also I'm not a Boston what is it? How do I put it? Like marketer of Boston or whatever. Yeah. But I will say like I think there's a lot more things coming through the city, especially like after the World Cup experience
Right.
that the city
Yeah.
hosted. And so I think there's opportunities that are coming up. I think unfortunately the city did have some of the budget issues for the arts, but I think that's also a space where a lot of groups can come together and collaborate and try to make up for those spaces.
Also, what's your experience been working with us, working at our event, like hosting the nonprofit workshop?
It was dope. I mean, you guys are amazing. I think what y'all are doing is amazing. Like having this space, the events that y'all do. And so I think my first interaction with you guys was the collective event.
Yeah.
That was fire. We had a great time. It was really like a dope space to be in. And I honestly hadn't done pop-ups for like years. Like before when we first started, we was like, if there was a pop-up, we was there.
Yeah.
And then I kind of got to a point I was like, this doesn't like do much for us.
Yeah.
And then I think we ended up going to, I think I did one other one, but even then I was like, I'm not trying to do them. And then we're going to y'all's, like, it was, I think the crowd that we were interacting with was different. And I think people had more of appreciation of like the stories and the background of the brand. And so that was really dope for us. So you guys are always amazing to work with. Even with the Build Your Own Brand workshop, that was fire. Just, I think for me, what I've realized, like taking my creative stuff a lot more serious the past like year and a half is networking with people. And so networking with you guys, it's like, hey, I have this idea for something. I don't think you guys have ever like turned me down an idea. So it's great to like just have a relationship with you guys because it's just dope to like just find people that's like, hey, like, all right, I'm cool with the idea. Let's just run with it and figure it out later.
Yeah. And likewise, bro. Like, I think you're one of the few people that once we've met, we've constantly kept in contact and interacting with in terms of actually executing stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's always like, you know,
Hey,
you
let's
meet
do
people,
this.
yeah, hey, sure, let's do this. I'll hit you up, sure. And like nothing goes about it. But I think with you, we've constantly kept at least working to actually get something executed. This will be like the pop-up, the drive coming up will be the third thing we've done and just this year. So that's good. And people like you help us be more part of the community and help push it forward. And like it keeps you more motivated to keep working. That's like, okay, there are people that are also trying to do things like what we do. And to end it off, what's one piece of advice you'd want to give to a creative who's just starting out, still trying to find their way, just trying to build themselves up?
I would say the one advice I would have is like, remember like why you wanted to be a creative, why you wanted to like do things. What was it that you felt was missing, or what story did you want to tell? And stay as true to that and like keep remembering that as much as possible. I think there's definitely times you're going to be like, what's the point of all of this? And you're going to have to, you're going to have to remind yourself of that. I know for me, like there's times I'm like, I am losing way more sleep and money doing this than like anything else. And then I'll pop out somewhere randomly and someone will be in a product and I'll be like, okay, like
It's worth it.
yeah, it's worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say just remember your why. Yeah.
All right. Well, yo, thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Wish you lots of success moving
Thank you.
forward with
Thank
everything
you.
you're doing. And August 23rd, pull to the drive, pull to pop-up. Have a good experience. Like, comment, subscribe. Next Thursday, we're going to be here with another guest.